Here we are, Art Story with Kronos9. Thank you so much to the folks at the Camp Gallery for letting us use this space. And thank you, Kronos9, for making it out here today.
Thank you. I mean, this just happened. I'm coming from a client and work, and Steve calls me up, and I'm like, yo, and then he's like, oh no, because I'm running late, and then it's hot outside, like, you guys, it's Miami, man. And then next thing I know, he's like, we have a gallery, and we don't have to deal with the heat, and the universe wanted this to happen. That's how I truly look at things. So here we are. What's the name of the gallery again?
It's Camp Gallery.
Camp Gallery. Props to Camp Gallery for making this happen, man, on the fly.
Big time, big time. And thank you for, dealing with the whole I-95 hustle and bustle to get here. You got here quicker than I expected.
Quicker than I expected as well. I avoided I-95 actually, though.
Did?
Yeah, I don't really like highways because
yeah.
it's like you're on a missile freaking station with a bunch of other missiles. Sure. Especially during like rush hour, I try to like avoid it. I just took like back street,
makes sense.
West Second Ave, all
right,
the
right.
70.
Oh,
yeah, just bouncing corners and shit. You know how it is, man. You lived in Miami for a while.
Big time, big time.
Yeah.
And well, I just wanted to start by saying, I first learned about you through the AV Club and Catherine, which you provided a live score to some of the films that night,
Yes.
which I was like, damn, this guy's super talented to be able to do this. And how did you prepare for something like that? I just wanted to kind of start with, the way that I learned about you. So.
The AV Club happened as an alignment of thoughts and people at the Club Miami. If you guys know, you know.
It's like the new Churchill's, right?
That's what people are saying, but the owner's like, nah, it's really not. I mean, it's got its own vibe. I would love to say that, but it definitely has its own vibe. But the owner, so Alma, invites me, and I'm there, and I'm watching this performance. And I'm like, AV Club, 16 millimeter, yeah. So I go there, and we're talking, but me and Alma had been in talks prior to that, because I wanted to do a night at the club, but I'm hyper busy, so I just wanted to do like a monthly. I like the ideas of monthly, so pitched her the idea. She's like, great, let's figure out, what's the scheduling. We have a person that does all the bookings and the scheduling, and I'm like, okay. And then I just went on a night where the AV Club was there, and like, whoa, and started spitballing with her about, hey, I would love to maybe play something while she, DJ. And then Catherine was like, hey, how about you just come and play music while I'm watching this? And Alma's like, that would be a great idea. You could live score it. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's how the AV Club just came about. Chance, coincidence, synchronicity more than anything else, I would like to say. So from that point on, she would send me the features that she was going to what's the word I'm looking for again?
Maybe ones that didn't have any audio to them.
Ones that didn't have any audio. Sometimes she would send me things with audio that she would rather me compose around, but she would send me things that had either or and whatnot. And she was like, well, whatever you want to do, let me know. Sometimes I would, I make music with the intent of visuals behind it. So I thought to myself, okay, some of these things I have already would fit, but then there were other times where I would just compose, cut, paste, whatever, around the piece. Some were longer and shorter, but that's how the idea came. And of course, it evolved as with any project. So started thinking, wait a second, what would be a great way to present the music? And of course, tape decks, because she has a reel-to-reel, it's 16 millimeter. I'm like, oh, poof, what a great idea. So create this music, record it on a timeline with Logic, and then bounce it onto tape, which was interesting because nothing always aligned perfectly when you're doing a process like that. Even if it's on the timeline, you know, she's sending me video like from the phone. Sometimes it was like YouTube videos. Other times it was just like random things from links, you know, archives. So that's how that came about. And then I started showing up with the tape decks, and people really loved it. Started getting feedback. We have notes, handouts that she would give to some of the audience members, to all audience members, and they would make suggestions as far as what they wanted to see.
Did you get a lot of comments about your involvement, like about the score?
We got a lot of comments about my involvement, the entire project in itself as a whole. So yeah, we got a lot of.
I want to say I commented on your.
I think you probably did. I think a lot of people enjoyed the dimensionality of having music to old film being displayed and presented on tape. To me, it was a perfect marriage of those two worlds. I mean, reel to reel, tape to tape. You know, we both were like on deck. You know, air quotes and whatnot. So I thought, you know, the project in itself evolved, and we could push it even further. We have more plans, but right now, currently, both of the spaces that we love to use that I've been scoring at with her, they're closed. The Schnitzel House is closed for the summer, and the club is on a temporary, hopefully, hiatus. We don't want to tell everybody that because I love the place, but we're looking to, you know, move it forward. I recently created a compilation CD that I'm releasing on Bandcamp and other platforms for my birthday, which is Sunday. Collaborative effort. It's called Sounds and Strange Pursuits, or something to that extent. I should have that for you guys. Cool. But you can always follow me on Kronos9 or Strange Pursuits and find out. But it's also available on streaming. Yeah. Yeah.
The next Bandcamp Friday is October 6th, right? So that's a good day to.
Oh, there's a Bandcamp Friday? Yeah. What is that?
That's where they give 100% proceeds of sales to the artist. They don't get any cut.
Oh, not a Spotify.
That's the best day to go, yeah. Just everybody out there, yeah.
Yeah. That's a good day to, like, what's called Bandcamp?
Bandcamp Friday.
Bandcamp Friday.
Yeah.
And what date is that again?
October 6th.
October 6th.
Yeah.
That's definitely a good day to push it. Yeah. Man, I wish I'd known that earlier. But thank you.
And so you've got a lot of different projects that you're working right now, you know, in addition to this collab with the Strange Pursuits. Mm-hmm. Your summer, we were just talking about the summer, this is a Summer Night series. Yes. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Summer Night series is my take on the music that I want to listen to during summer nights in Miami, and I think the audience, or just in general, what feels like a summer night in Miami. I wanted to create and capture audio that represents that.
It's like Stevie B and stuff like that? Or? No, I'm kidding.
I mean, it could be. Stevie B was kind of dope, you know, if you're into freestyle and shit like that. So, but no, it's more of a Afro Ambient Jazz take on music that feels like Miami. Mm-hmm. That's what Miami Summer Night Sessions, the first one at least. The rest, yes, but this particular one is, I'm coining it Afro Ambient Jazz. Mm-hmm. You know.
Is that released already, or?
No, that should be released by Sunday. Only available on Bandcamp.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm offboarding the streaming platforms, obvious reasons.
Yeah.
They owe both me and my business partner, quite a bit of sum of money. 6 figures between the both of us.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, low 6 figures, but they don't pay. They have all these restrictions, and it's just a nightmare. If you're out there and you're an artist, you know, and you have somewhat of an audience, even if you don't, at least you know if you didn't sell shit, it's 0 pennies, you know, for your hard-earned efforts. At least you can point to directions like, okay, it's not here. But you're making all this effort and you're gonna get point something. I mean, I know everyone's complaining about it, but at least you know if you're failing, it's on your own merit, not because you're getting jacked by these streaming platforms. So
I saw Weird Al Yankovic's, I can't remember how many streams he had, over 1 million, and he's like, thanks, I bought a sandwich with the money I get.
everyone, it's like, I mean, it's literally slavery. You know what I'm saying? People are gonna be like, oh, dude, I'm black. I'm telling you, this shit's slavery. Like, the way they operate, it might as well be. You know what I mean? But that's the conversation that's dead or in the water. Artists are gonna keep pushing and figuring out how to get their music and how to navigate these things. You know what I mean? There's always gonna be obstacles and people, you know, attempting to, you know, take advantage of that. You know, that's just how the system works.
Most definitely, yeah, no. And but the good thing is, you know, it seems like Bandcamp is pretty fair. I've had good experiences with them, and so you're going to be doing a lot of your releases on that. And you have how many are coming out Sunday?
I think from now on, I'm releasing singles every month. Moving forward, I've been doing so all year. This Sunday, the Miami Night Sessions. I think there's 8 or 9 tracks. There's the Strange Pursuits in Sound. With Strange Pursuits, that's out already on Bandcamp, and I think that's also available on streaming platforms. There's also another one called Bop. It's a single. I've yet to upload that. That's also available on streaming. I'm just pushing.
Yeah.
And
Are you going for like the Guinness Book of World Records and releases or something?
I'm very creative, man. I like putting music out, you know, like, I mean, for the weekend, maybe, who knows? I'm sure people have released more in like a 3-day session, but I'm definitely, you know, pushing forward. I have another project with this cat, Mike Flo, who's a DJ, sound shaman, musician, just all around gifted artist and MC out of Brooklyn, New York. He lives in Miami now, but he has residencies in Atlanta and a few other places, and he's amazing. We literally just released a single called Courage. That's going to be on streaming platforms on the 22nd. That reminds me, I should also onboard it onto Bandcamp by this Sunday. And another project with a cat, Orion. He's one of the dopest MCs you'll ever hear. Out of Miami, out of anywhere. Whoever your favorite artist is, as far as a lyricist, he's as dope, if not better. And I stand by that. And that's Orion, aka Brass Ball. He has a series that he's also doing called La Plancha. That's every month, where he previews mixtapes, etc., and new music. So we're collaborating on a project that's scheduled to release Q1 next year, full album. I'm producing I've produced a bulk of it, but he's also co-producing because he's also a producer, and rapping his ass off like he always does. Oh, can I curse? I guess it's too late.
Of course,
yeah. Rapping his ass off like he always does. That's Orion. So I'm really looking forward to that project. And also the one with Mike Flo, where, you know, we're working relationship right now, but, you know, he has a beat pack from me that he's working some tracks out, and we released the first one, and we're gonna continue to see how it goes. Maybe that'll become part of the monthly that I'm releasing every month, you know, to continue that process.
How do those collabs work as far as like, do they give you like a certain direction? Hey, I'm looking for this kind of vibe, or they kind of just let you do your thing, you know? Like there was a track that you shared with me. Is that the one that's being released, or with the one with Mike Flo?
That's the one that's being released. I released it. And
had the Ghost in the Shell.
Yes, that's definitely the one. I just sent him some music, and you know, Mike.
Like more of this, like.
Yeah, I sent him some music, and he has a monthly he also does, and at the corner, which is amazing. I don't really go out that much to listen to music on that level, and it's the only place I'll go. It's 1 o'clock. He starts either at midnight at 1, and he plays till 6.
What? Do you sit in with
5. I'm just sitting at the table listening and having drinks, and it's It sounds like it's a long time, but it goes by incredibly fast because he's that good. And I was like, man. And then I found out, like maybe earlier this year, that he also raps. Okay. Like, hey, just following him and whatnot. And I posted a note of that track. And he DM'd me and thought, hey, you want to put this out as a single? I'm like, yeah. And that's how that project came about. Sent him the track. He sent me back the vocal stacks within a week, mixed everything down, added some more flourishes to complement his vocals, some piano stabs here and there, mixed it down, sent it back to him, liked it, uploaded it. I had some issues with the name nomenclature with Ditto, and then while that was happening, I remixed it again, like that mix, and then it's a go. So it was pretty seamless. Mike Flo's Mike Flo. He's another gifted MC. So I feel very privileged to be working with these two cats right now, particularly because I've been looking for MCs. I've been wanting to collaborate with Brass Ball for quite some time. But Mike Flo, the type of beats that he really likes, and I feel that he flourishes on, are the type of beats that I enjoy producing. And I've always wanted to find that cat. You know what I mean? I've been, it sounds corny, I've been looking for this cat. And again, my business partner, I told him, I had a conversation with him that yesterday, and he's like, it sounded like you found him. I'm like, yeah, I think I did. And the beats, he's rapping to dubstep-ish things and weird, like, he's that cat. So I feel so incredibly grateful for that. So I'm looking forward. And also Brass Ball is another person I've always wanted to collaborate with. It just never came to fruition. But I went with the intent of this year of just making a beat a day and sending the stacks after each quarter, the beat packs, to various MCs that I like. And I've been doing so. And they started choosing the tracks. They started he started curating the track, and we now have a tentative album on our hands. So,
like a full album, you guys are.
A full album. It's going to be a full album. Yeah, because I think he's chosen about 12 beats, 12 tracks. So yeah.
And then you'll go back and add some different spice to it, like the keyboard that you did
so,
with Mike Flip.
Sorry.
I
think he's also going to do that because, again, he is a producer. So it's really a collaborative effort. And we're going to obviously share the whatever proceeds, 50-50. I'm a firm believer in that. When you're collaborating with somebody to make the project a true collaboration, you should share whatever. It's not like, oh, well, I wrote this. Well, I produced this. I've never really liked how that works. So it is what it is.
Sure. It's very fair.
Yeah, I think so.
Can we go way back in time?
Absolutely.
To like, when did you get started with, making music, and do you have like any kind of formal background, if any instrument in particular, or like?
Flute when I was really young. Yeah.
Marching band or something?
In a band room. It was weird, and I was like, yeah, okay. But then the transition into like more writing, and while in college really got into like music and spinning and DJing, and then from there on like production. Late started with it, but I started off drawing, so creativity has always been a part of something that was with me. At an early age, I was drawing, copying comic books like a lot of kids, but kept pushing that, to the point where my parents thought I was going to become an architect. At least they pushed me to do that because there's no money in art. They're Haitian, they're Caribbean folks. Become a doctor, become a lawyer. What are you gonna do if you're drawing? Oh, you can draw schematics in floor pen. I'm like, what? The fuck? But yeah, but it just kept growing and growing and growing. It's just one art always transformed into something else. Went to AI for graphic design and photography. And
Here in Miami, or?
Here in Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Pursued that a little bit for a while. Had my own business, still do. Do some consulting work and other forms of work as well. But the music, the creativity has always been a mainstay in one way, shape, or form. So it's just at the point where it's like, you're a full production house now. As with most artists, once you reach a certain age, you realize it's just another way to communicate with your audience. Everything is everything, and it feeds off of, the next thing. You can see how this structure might relate to the sequence and your music, or this rhyme pattern might relate to how this painting took place. Almost everything is interchangeable. All these disciplines, you just got to see it and make it relatable. And I think once you get to that point, it's like, oh, okay, I can create anything. So,
Do you still play with the flute? Do you ever add flute to your?
I mean, yeah. Samples, but not really, I'm not like a musician like that. More cut and paste, but I can fool around with keys and whatnot. I know how things should sound. I know how I want my things to sound, and I think that's the most important. I have an amazing ear for music, for quite some time. So I grew up listening to classical music, so I'm confident in my abilities. But no flute. I'm really trying to get my hand around playing keys right now. So, and theory again, what I'm saying? I think theory, it's it's not taught. You can know it, but I think it's really important if you want to keep pushing forward. Mm-hmm. So those things, but it's learning. It's always learning, man. Always learning something with music and creativity. So
that's cool. And what about, can you talk a little bit about that GPS project that you, is that using ambient sounds? Are you sampling things?
No, all the GPS projects, there have been some sampling sounds of it. I call it my live or real-time sampling library that lives in the cloud, if you can say that. It's just also a way to create content without giving the machine, the algorithm, too much real content, because they're going to use it for advertising and all this bullshit. So I'm like, here's a creative, clever way to continue, producing content that's reusable by anybody else. That's
super unique.
And thank you. And that's the word I'm looking for. Non-descriptive kind of project, but it's developed its own personality.
Yeah, it doesn't fit into any box of,
Not necessarily, if anything, it fits into the Kronos box of being, its own thing. But I thought it was interesting because during the pandemic, right before we took off, me and at the time my partner and our jets to live in Tennessee for a little bit, and it began out there because we're on a more or less a commune.
Where in Tennessee?
Boondocks, Tennessee, Summertown. Oh my God, ooh, I got stories. But beautiful place, as I always say when people ask me. Nature makes racism go down really well, because you'd be on a compound. I mean, it's beautiful, these old school hippies, these Jewish hippies that left Berkeley, I think in early 70s. And of all places, we're gonna go buy a bunch of land in the middle of nowhere where they hate us and then build this beautiful community. Yeah, and yes, it was a soft cult. As I found out, because as soon as we got there, I'm observing people, and I'm to my homegirl, I'm like, yo, I think this shit was a cult. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I don't know, man. People doing drugs and having multiple wives and I'm like, did they have a leader? She's like, they did, and they would hold sermons on Sunday. I'm like, bro, this was
How long were you there for?
I was there for 2.5 years, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
And you didn't get sucked into the cult?
Nah, never. I knew what it was, man. I'm my eyes are pretty open to bullshit. You know what I mean? But the people were cool. The people, I can't say anything bad outside of they're in a bubble. So, that happens when you build these intentional communities. But I met some people there, and I was like, hey, is this place a cult? It's so cool. And she was like, I think it could be considered. I'm like, I knew it. But anyways, I had a studio there, and I just began to go out into the woods. I had purchased some gears during the pandemic, and went out and started recording. Field recording, live recording, playing, learning gear in the woods and recording it, and developed a process, amazing process with this particular iPhone. I think it's the iPhone 6. And one of these little old school Bose speakers that looks like, when you look at it, it looks like one of, those Jamaican stacks, like the sound systems that look like stack. The particular Bose looks like that. When you go close up to it, you can see all the little woofers, and there's like 5 of them, and this little thing that's about maybe
It's like a Bluetooth
4 by 5. It's a Bluetooth. It's an old Bluetooth speaker that still goes for about $250. It's kept its values. Yeah, that particular one. So I was like, oh, and I bought another one. Or no, that was a gift for my birthday. And if you record at a certain distance with this iPhone, the sound is phenomenal. Like, one of my boys is an engineer, and he's like, how are you recording this? And I told him, I DM'd him. He's like, you're kidding, right? I'm like, nah, Playboy. He's like, listen, man, people pay millions of dollars to get this sound in the studio. I'm like, really? I'm like, yeah, I kind of believe you, because I started noticing like how rich the quality was and how well the environment would blend with it.
Did that just happen to be the phone you had?
It just happened to be the phone that I had, but I noticed, because I was doing other field recordings with the phone, it's this app that allows you to record sounds in 3 movements. And I had been field testing the audio or the microphone with this app.
This isn't the 6 though. This is a 15 or something. Right?
This is a new one.
Right.
This isn't it.
Yeah.
But I've been testing it with this phone, and I was like, wow.
Can you tell me about some of the sounds you were getting? Like,
I was just getting birds and
Yeah.
Water, and pre-pandemic, basically dropping pens, because it allows you to drop a location with it. And I thought, wow, this is really, really good. So I got to really listen to how functional and how rich the sound was with that phone. And from there on, I started recording other things with it. Turns out, Vibes Cartel, while he was in prison, I was like, I'm not crazy, was recording on the same phone. He's like, and he said the same thing. He's like, there's something about that version of the iPhone, the microphone is incredible.
you still have it?
Yeah, of course. I'm never throwing that one out. I'm never, like, if I start, and when I start recording other GPSs, that's the phone I'm gonna use. So it was just like, oh, it confirmed everything that I thought. And he was releasing music and the same distance. I'm not gonna tell the secret, the sauce, but it was the same exact distance.
Really?
Yeah.
And that would just happen to be by chance? Like,
Well, he's an artist, he's a vocalist, so you figure things out through your process.
but just to say, like, you didn't know about his before you.
I didn't know. Oh, no, not at all. It was just for me. You're asking me about me. It was just my process,
Yeah.
and then I would test the distance, and then I found this distance where it was this perfect bubble where it allowed just the right amount of sound, external sound, the environmental sound into the sound bubble, and he spoke about it in a recent interview with Cypher Sound and Peter Rosenberg. Plug. That's one of my favorite. Podcasts. Thank you. So yeah, he was recording in jail, and he was using the mattresses to isolate the sound. I mean, it's so hood. That's what we do. You know what I mean? It's like, and releasing music with this iPhone, and he would send the vocal stacks to his peeps, tell him how to edit it, and that's how he's releasing music while he was in jail.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's the same exact distance on the same phone.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, there's something here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was using it, and it just evolved into this thing from the 43 and a third to the GPS project, you know. So
That's usually, you do that outdoors, like different locations? Or
it's
is that,
different locations. It's always been different locations.
how many have you done?
100 and something, I think. Yeah, I think we're
Dating back to like Tennessee.
Yeah, dating back to Tennessee. I haven't done it most of this year. I think I stopped last year, but if I'm right, I'm at 100 and something. I can pull it up and confirm that.
You release those on YouTube or what?
I haven't really released those. Those are only living right now on on IG. Yeah, it was just a way to feed the beast on IG. But yeah, I haven't really done. Let me tell you, the last one was last year in June, and I was at 101. But some of them were edited, so there'd be different versions of it. So I'm probably at 120.
So like on the spot, you're picking up samples and you're implementing it.
Sometimes, but mostly it was just playing things. I would sometimes sequence things on this drum machine, the Pocket Operator series from Teenage Engineering. Mad plug if y'all trying to sponsor me, yo. Y'all know the gears that I like. But yeah, the Teenage Engineering Pocket Operator, synth, a little synth from Modal Electronics.
Just a bunch of battery operated.
All battery operated, and a stomp box, lack of a better word, effects pedal. I have a few of those, so those I have a few that are battery operated, but I also have a couple that I would just plug it into a battery charger with a little converter and power it up. But everything was always completely mobile. So I would record and shoot with the iPhone 6, and most of the time unedited. When I say unedited, there was no processing, there was no post-production done on it. It was just on the spot. If anything, I would edit the length, but I got to a point where the process became like, okay, I'm gonna play it, like create it, treat it like a track. So there would be an intro, middle part, and then unless it was some ambient, but I started to treat it like it was an actual track. So there was some structure to it. Most of them, once you get past a certain point, I think like on the 10th one, a structure started to evolve a lot more from just a process and observation. You know what I'm saying? So, you're out there in the woods, like, microdosing, smoking, shit just comes to you. Yeah. I'm sure. Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. And did you ever run into any trouble there, like in Tennessee? Like you mentioned, a little bit about like the, I guess, culture, for lack of a better word.
The racism? I'll say it. On the farm, no. It was just like, old white hippies who didn't really know better. But it was nothing like overt and like blatantly disrespectful. They were just trying to be cool, air quote, you know what I'm saying? So there was never anything like hyper, you had people that thought like, because they were one of the founders, that they kind of like could just tell you what to do, like but that's just people just being nosy and whatnot. But nothing really hardcore. I kept to myself a lot because I had a studio, an attic, a huge space, so I kept to myself quite a bit while I was there, which was not a problem. But off the location, I kind of had a gun pull on me because I came up to the wrong house. A cat thought that it was cool to stop me in the middle of the highway. I could have been one of those cats that you read about, like that you've seen. So at that point, 3 months later, I moved to my partner. I'm like, listen, you could stay, I'm leaving. And my jit was like, I'm not staying here if you're not here, because she's biracial. And within a year, she moved back down with me. So yeah, it was a beautiful experience. I have nothing really negative to say about it, except even off, because you never knew what you would run into. You know what I mean? Even though the encounters were far and few in between, the locals, you never knew what type of locals. And a few times I felt unsafe, like at a dollar store, like, kids looking at me wearing Confederate flag belts and, paraphernalia, like, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Grab my shit and just get the fuck out of there. Sure. So yeah, but I mean, it's where I was. It's an hour away from Pulaski, where the KKK was founded. So it's not surprising. Sure. They fly the Confederate flag like it's a team sport. For real. Cats wearing like shirts and like wallets and things like that. So
Team Confederate flag.
Team Confederate. And I'm like, yo, like that was an interesting thing too, because you have a house with one, and then another house with another one, and then three blocks. I'm like, what is this like? You know, you're like, what's it called again? Clout signaling? Like you all know you racist. Like you ain't gotta tell each other. Like we all know you're racist. Like it was crazy, man. Like for me, it, like as you're laughing, I found a lot of humor in it too, because my mind works like, because I'm like, why?
I guess that's all you could really do, right?
You know, it's like, why? Like we all know, but you know, it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
America.
I was just in Tennessee this summer, and
where?
And near Pigeon Forge.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was there for like a week. We rented a little cabin and stuff, and we wanted to go to the mountains, But it was like,
place, right?
yeah, super. I mean, but I've also spent a lot of time in the Bible Belt, so I've seen a lot of the stuff you're talking about.
Yeah.
From Alabama to Virginia, the Carolinas and stuff. So it's like,
you like driving through too, because I drive back and forth, visit family. Like you see it, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, right.
Like America's a beautiful country.
Yeah, most definitely.
But we all know what's at the core.
Yeah.
And it is rotten to the core. And whether people want to accept and believe that or not, as with most colonial projects, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But things will, things will come to fruition.
I hope so. Are you originally from Miami, or?
No, I'm originally from Haiti.
Yeah.
I was born in Haiti.
How long have you been here?
I've been here most of my life.
Yeah.
I'm like American at this point, as
Sure.
I trash America. Oh, the dichotomy.
I guess you could trash Haiti too in the same regard as far as the
definitely.
colonialism. And that.
Yeah. All those things are rooted in colonialism. All those problems.
Yeah.
So,
Right on. Yeah.
what is?
Well, I love what you're doing, and I can't wait to hear more from your projects.
Thank you.
Appreciate you sharing a little bit of what you've done, and we're definitely going to link everyone to your Bandcamp, only your Bandcamp.
Only my goddamn Bandcamp. Fuck Spotify and all of these other motherfuckers.
And your IG too, of course.
Oh, of course my IG, yeah. But fuck IG too. They're not paying me for my data that they're using. That's anyways.
Well, we're really excited about what you're doing, and we can't wait to see what's coming. Summer's over, so we can't, you've got to start putting these summer projects out.
Yeah, I know. I literally.
I mean, it still feels like summer out here, right?
Bruh, like we had this conversation yesterday, me and my jit. She's like, is it me? Am I tripping? Like, it feels like summer just. I'm like, it's not you. Something's wrong here. Like, we walked outside for like a minute and I started sweating.
It's 100,
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's 95 or something.
Might as well.
But with the high heat index.
Yeah, it feels wrong outside. Like, it don't feel right, man. I don't know.
Leads me to want to thank the Camp Gallery once again for being gracious hosts and letting us enjoy this beautiful AC in here.
Come on. I mean, come on.
This lovely exhibit is going. I think we're here for the last day of this exhibit. So,
Yo, universe, I know you listening. Thank you to everyone that's here right now. You brought us together. You as well, sir, Steve, and Eve. He's like the white version of me. He also lived in Haiti, right? Yeah. So synchronicity. I mean, what are the chances, right? What are the chances? In my world, high actually, but still.
well, thanks again. I really appreciate you making it out here.
Thank you, man.
I know it was
Thank
a
you.
bit of a struggle to get here, as it is to get around in Miami every day.
Yes.
But really appreciate you making it happen.
Thank you. I mean, I thank you because I know both of you have like hard schedules and both of you are on a tight schedule, particularly today. So thank you
Oh, it's
for
a
your
pleasure.
patience
No,
and
it's
like
amazing.
waiting for me to come up and all the intricacies of trying to get this, but again, it was supposed to happen here.
It was a great time talking with you. We learned a lot about you, and
Thank you.
can't wait to see what else you're going to do.
Me too, man. Me too. I'm as excited as you are. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time a lot.
It's a pleasure, man.
That's what's up. Yo.